This is the world's biggest radio-controlled car motor, and in this video, we're gonna fit it to the Mega Kraton 8S, Armour's flagship radio-controlled basher. This motor can take 12S LiPo. This is what happened when we tried 12S on an X-Max. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. But anyway, this motor is so big that it's not going to fit straight in there. So here, we've got a long wheelbase chassis from M2C to make room for it. We've got a load of custom motor mounts. And while we're at it, I've got a whole load of other upgrades to make this probably the most upgrades that I've ever put onto an RC car. We've got all these parts here from M2C, bits of on bulkheads, and all these parts here from GPM. There's probably going to be almost nothing left of the original car, so I know what you're saying. I should have just built it out of spares, and I probably should have done, but too late now. Let's waffle, let's get building. And then we'll take it out for a rip and see what this thing can do. We're going to speed run it, we're going to bash it, we're going to run it on different surfaces, all in this video. Boom! Man, this is a beast. These things are so much heavier than an X-Max. And then we're adding all this weight here. This motor here weighs an absolute ton, so it's going to be interesting to see how fast it is, but probably more importantly, how durable. Now here's the motor that's in it now, and here is the motor that we're putting in it. Now don't be fooled, the motor in it's got heatsink on it as well to make it look even bigger. So you wait until we get that motor out. This thing's like over double the size. Right, well, you better go and get yourself a cup of tea and relax, and I better start wrenching. So I think the action plan's going to be is take off the rear end, modify that first, then do the front end, then the centre section, and then bolt it all onto the new chassis. Well, that's the plan anyway. Things never really go to plan. People always ask me, how do I know where all the screws go once you've taken it all apart? Well, I'll try and keep most of the screws with the part that they came from, with the part. So this part's are here, screws are there, put the screws back in there. I've got a few laying here that come out the chassis, but these ones are obvious. Anyway, over here I've got some bits of on bulkheads that I got from Appliance Electronics. I'm going to put a link down below where you can get these from, and where you can get everything else from in this video. So we can get this motor from, the perfect pass servo, all the M2C upgrades, the GPM upgrades, the car, link down below to everything. And also, one of you guys can win this car once it is built. So there's going to be a link to that down below too. I mean, to an Armour guy, this is going to be like the dream RC car. So one of you guys is going to win that car. Link down below in the description box. Right, enough waffle. Let's get the bulkhead on. Before I take a differential out, I always mark on the bulkhead what side this crown wheel goes on. If you forget and put it on the wrong side, your car's going to drive backwards. Now this part here is probably one of the biggest weaknesses on this Armour 8S rigs. If you start bashing these hard, these things just disintegrate. All the screws pull out, they break. Yeah, get rid of that. And in with a Vitavon. Oh man, check that out. That looks beautiful. But we can't put it on just yet, because first we've got to modify the actual differential itself. And for that, I've got these GPM diff cups. These ones here made out of aluminium. I've been chatting with Rich Duper Bash. Shout out to you, Rich. Everyone go and check him out. He makes some epic content with his Armour stuff. But he said with all that horsepower, you blow this plastic part of the differential. So here, we've got aluminium. Come on, open up. Open sesame. Come on, out with you, out. Ah, see, I can't get this pin out, but they've got a little hole in the side here where you can take the screw out and get the pin out that way. Now look, that pin come out through here. What a mess. So if you look at the stock one, brittle plastic. Modified GPM one, 7075 aluminium. So over here I've got upgraded drive shafts from GPM and from M2C. The M2C ones look to be a bit thicker, but the GPM ones come with these heavy duty diff cups. So I don't know which ones to try. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Yeah, alright, solid. GPM we'll try this time. If they break, we'll put the M2C ones in later. Don't know if there's so much of a problem on these Armours, but on the X-Maxes, these are always split across there and break in half. So a lot of people put these rings on there, but the GPM one, that's already got it built in. Also, look at the pin size of the GPM. That is much bigger. As a comparison, here's the stock one. You put that next to the GPM one. Look at that. There's no hole in here, so I don't know how that pin's going to go in. An easier way. Boom! So how you actually have to do it, because there's no hole on the side like this one, you actually have to take this bottom plate off here, take this off, and then you can put the pin on, and it all goes back together again. I was actually struggling with it for ages, so I called Rob RC Man, yes mate, and he knew straight away, so that saved a bit of time, didn't it? You've got to Loctite all these screws that go into metal, because otherwise they're all going to come loose. Man, everything is fitting together perfectly. Next up, we've got to fit the GPM drive shafts onto the arms, and then we can fit it all back onto the bulkheads. Look at that, here you can really see the size difference. Thicker shaft, thicker pins. And the other side. Boom! Next up, M2C hinge pin braces. Here we've got M2C hinge pins. Next up we've got the shock absorbers. The stock armour shafts have got a habit of bending on heavy landings. So M2C have got an upgrade here with much thicker shafts. But to get them in, you've got to fit all this lot too. So M2C recommend putting those little slots down. I'm going to put a little bit of shock oil here on the shaft just to help it slide in. I've left this little plate here loose until afterwards, because once that's clamped down, that's going to clamp those O-rings. I'm going to top up a tiny bit of shock oil in here just because we probably lost a little bit as we worked on it, and most people are going to say I'm doing it wrong. You're really supposed to bleed the shocks from the top. However, it's more messy, you lose all your oil, it's more work, and it's only a basher, and I've never had any problems doing it this way. Oh, I forgot the O-ring. And then before we seat that all the way down, I always push the shock shaft all the way down. You can see the excess oil bleeding out. Go ahead and nip that up. That's beautiful. It moves all the way and there's no air bubbles in there. If there's air bubbles in there, when the shock's upside down, if you move this all the way to the top, you'll feel it. And that is absolutely perfect. There we go. Look at that difference in shaft size. So now we've got to do the other one. Boom! Boom! I've also got these GPM rear hubs, knuckles, uprights, whatever you want to call them. I forgot to put them on. They come with these nice little plastic inserts to put your bearings in and stronger pins. But luckily, I know a quick way to put them on. There we go, all fitted. Next up, get the spoiler back on there. And now we can bolt it onto this M2C long wheelbase chassis. So here we've got the chassis kit. It comes with all these stiffeners that go on. So I've got to figure out where all this lot goes. And the quickest way that I know, obviously. Right, that's all on there. Also in the kit, you get an extended front drive shaft, because I think the extension must be on the front by this amount here. You've got some extended links here, which we'll put on later. Check that out. This whole rear end is now going to be so solid. If you crash, it's like the only thing that you're going to break is literally going to be the arms. You can probably get alloy arms. However, I would stay away from those because you do want somewhere where stuff can flex or break. If this was all solid and you crashed, then something's got to bend. And just changing an arm, easy. Next up, I've got to do the same again to the front end. And you've already seen how I've done the back end. The front is almost identical. So a quicker way. So we got all that assembled now. One issue that we did come into is on these aluminium knuckles, it's got these cup thing retainers here. On the stock ones, they come loose quite often. So M2C have made a metal one here. If you look on the end, there's no thread. The idea of that is as you wind that in, this part with no thread jams itself into the plastic. However, you cannot use that on the aluminium because it would be aluminium on aluminium. These ones here have an O-ring on the GPM ones, but it was still loose. So I'll just put a loop of this round it, wrapped it in this, put it back in. That made it nice and tight. So now hopefully they're not going to back out. If it does, we'll have to go back to this option. Next up, center section. And then put it all on and take it for a whip. So next up, let's build the transmission. For that, I'm going to use a GPM transmission case, an M2C motor mount. Ugh, my God, that is tight on there. I've had a problem before on these. If you strip this out, you really struggle getting them off. Even if you drill the head off, you can't get it out because a bit still sticks out and you can't get it out. But over here, we have a soldering iron. And if you hold that onto the part where the actual thread is, that should get enough heat in there to break off the Loctite. So I had that on there for about a minute. Boom. No problem. 60 seconds later. Yes. Next up, we've got to set the gearing. Different motors require different gearing. This one here is 12S, but also a really low kV. So I had a chat with Rich Duper Bash, the armour guru when it comes to extreme bashing. And here's the gearing that he recommends. So a 39 tooth spur gear and a 42 tooth pinion. Now, Armour do make a 39 spur. I don't have one, so I'm going to try and use a pinion. I think I'll see some YouTubers do this before. Hopefully it's going to work. So here we've got upgrade parts from two different brands. GPM M2C. It should go, but it is quite a snug fit. When in doubt, give it a clout. Well, that's on there. Right, well, it's all on there. Hopefully the gear mesh will line up. Oh, yes, it's going to work. Oh man, look at that. This thing is coming together. This has got to be the ultimate armour ever built. It's just got to be all the best parts throughout the whole thing. But I've encountered a slight problem. So the gearbox sitting on here, lovely-ish. But we come around here, the motor is sat flat on the chassis. And here, look, it's lifted. Maybe turn this motor mount round? That would bring the motor even lower. Right, I've just spoken with M2C and showed them a picture of what I've got, and I've got the wrong motor mount. So they are sending me the correct motor mount. So for now, let's go ahead and mount some of the other stuff. They do another motor mount specifically for this motor where the whole lot sits higher up. So for now, out with that, and let's continue. Next up, I've got to put all these braces here back on. Now, the front end, because it's extended, M2C make these little extenders that come with the kit. So you just take that off and put that on. However, I've also got this M2C kit with these carbon fibre rods that go over the top. So, quickest way that I know to get all that lot on, because it's going to be a slight faff figuring it all out. There we go, got them all on there. It was quite a bit of a faff because when you use different parts from different manufacturers, they might use different tolerances. So the M2C rod end was too tight to go into the GPM gearbox. I had to grind a little bit off of this. Then also, it was hitting on top of this GPM little front bulkhead thingy-majig there. So I had to grind a bit at the bottom off this link here off as well. Anyway, it's all on there and looking very beautiful. Next up, I want to fit the servo and the speed controller. And for that, we need this M2C mounting kit. Check this out, 110 kilos, all metal cased, all metal gears. I've used these in stuff, even like the laminators, and they've been perfect. So it should be perfect in the armour. Oh my God, check out the size of this. Look, there's a stock here, see? Here's the one that we can put into it. Man, this thing's going to be an animal. Next up here, I've got a servo tester, so we can hit this button here. That puts it in neutral. That means our servo horn is going to be straight, and then we can go ahead and fit the servo saver. Now, I'm not a fan of these Armour servo savers. They always lead to problems. They're cumbersome, they're clunky, they're weak. So GPM do one here. Next up, we've got to get the lid back on, and this massive ESC is going to mount on top of it. For that, M2C have got that mount, but to fit that, if you look on the M2C website, we've got to shave everything off that lid. So the servo is going to sit here somewhere, and then this contraption here goes on top, and then this giant ESC is going to hopefully fit on there. But first, before we bolt it all down, I just want to plug it all in, make sure it's going to work. Let's see if we can temporarily connect it like this. I don't want to put the connectors on yet, because I want to get the wire lengths right. Oh, that all works. Hopefully it's all going to fit. So we're nearly ready to rip. Off camera, I'll just put these battery trays back in. And next up, we're going to put the connectors on. I'm going to use these perfect pass connectors here because they handle a lot of power. There we go. Motor mounts turned up. So if we compare these two motor mounts, you can see that this one here makes the motor go higher up. A new motor mount. There we go, perfect mesh. And this back plate here is really clever. Normally, motors are only mounted on one end. What makes the X-Max so special, the motor is mounted on both ends. It really holds it in there nice. If you just leave this end dangling, especially with a heavy motor like this, if you land big jumps, all that weight is going to try and bend it off the mount. You're going to dent the motor. I've had motors go egg-shaped before. You rip it off the mount, you just cause chaos. So this here actually captures it all the way around the outside, and then it's got this clever little slider thing at the bottom here, so that it can still move in and out. And then you put this little thing on top just to lock it all in. So now look, that is solid. That motor should not move. To get the side guard back on, we do need to trim a little bit here off.
Why are you running away when you see the light? Is it because you can't get over yourself tonight?
So when you run this sensor lead, you have to make sure that the A, B and C on the motor corresponds with the A, B and C on the speed controller. Normally, if you haven't got a sensor lead, I mean, you could run it unplugged if you want. If the car went backwards, then you could swap two wires and you'll make it go forwards. But if the sensor lead's plugged in and you do that, you're going to probably set fire to it all. Basically, what the sensor lead does, it helps tell the ESC, the speed controller, what position the motor's in. So when you first accelerate, or if you're going really slow, it makes it really smooth. If you unplug that, it might jitter a bit and then go. You've got to tie all these down somehow, because if you don't, all the jumping around, you're going to end up with ripping out the speed controller. Here we go, ready to rip. This car is the ultimate armour. It cost around $4,000 to build. And we're going to take it out for a bash in a minute. And after that, one of you guys is going to win this car. I'm going to put a link down below in the description box. So this is your chance to own, which is probably the best armour in the world. Ginge, what are you doing, mate? Tyre wise, I'm not sure if these stock tyres are going to hold up. So here, I've got a set of these Proline Badland MXs. These hold up to high RPM really well. So if these blow out, we'll chuck a set of these on there. And then if it snows, or we go out on the sand, we've got a set of these paddles. I really don't think you can get a better Kraton. This has got the absolute best of everything. So I'm just charging up the lipos. I'm trying out these new Gens Ace advanced batteries. These here have got a special connector on it, so you plug it in, charger already knows, it's kind of smart. Then you just hit go and it starts charging. It's also got a button on the end somewhere there, so when you press that, it tells you the level of charge inside the battery. Pretty clever. Charging them at 13.6 amps. Maybe too much. You're supposed to do it 1C, so that would be 6.8, but I'm sure we'll be fine. So it took about 20 minutes to charge, and now let's hope that they're going to fit in there, and it looks like plenty of space. And with the battery tray adjustable, you can close it right up so it fits in there perfectly. Pretty cold today on the island, man. Lovely blue sky, but up in the mountains it has been snowing. So let's take a look. We've got it snowing, paddle tyres. Need more power. 10 volts, 18 volts. More power, yes. Oh man, check that out. That looks evil. Get the rest of them on there. Now we can go rip. Boom! Here we are on location, but this location, the snow's gone. So we're going to put the stock tyres back on. Maybe later, if it survives, we'll go and find some snow somewhere up in the mountains. There we go, ready for action. Robbie's not seen it yet. What do you reckon of it?
It's beautiful.
You don't really like armour normally, do you?
I don't like armour, but I mean, it's probably the prettiest armour I've ever seen. But I have my doubts. Arms are plastic, which is a good thing because they're going to go.
The idea was, when you crash, you want something to break. If that was metal, you'd bend something. So we've got all the metal here, we've got the metal ends. So hopefully the only thing you're going to break are these and that, and they're easy to fix and cheap. So that was the thinking beyond that.
I get that. Shock towers are probably not going to last with that weight. It's so heavy, dude.
But if they were aluminium and you crashed on it, you'd end up just bending stuff. So what does Scott think of it?
Beautiful.
But anyway, we've got a big skate park over there. Just had that on there. This thing went to the moon. I said I wasn't going to break it.
But it lasted.
It did last.
Exactly.
It's gone. It went really high.
Broken it.
Took some total abuse and nothing broke. Watch that video. Let's go, Rip. 12S, baby. 12S. Oh! Can you see those tyres? They're not going to last. Skate park. Oh, right, nice, dude. Oh, hold on, we can do a good deed of the day and clean up all the mess for the skaters. Little good deed of the day, make it nice for you skaters out there. Oh, look at this when you launch it, look. Oh, man, that's nuts! Oh!
Yeah, just come off.
Robbie's got toolage. Boom. What do you reckon, off the end there?
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Do it. Oh! 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 That was better.
I'll tell you what, it's so powerful, the air control's really hard. Oh my god, the thing's a beast. The thing's got the same power as your laminator, dude.
It's mental, isn't it? Mental. Come down, up here, backflip over and down the other side. And again there, and again there. 3 in a
I
row.
reckon I can do double.
Go on, double, 3 in a row. Double. Single. Oh!
Handy. Oh.
What's up? Is that the pinion?
Robbie to the rescue. We'll lock up that later. Hang on, I think I've got a quicker way. Ready? Boom! That was easier, wasn't it? Yeah. Back in action.
What are we doing?
Well, look at the size of that ramp over there.
The biggie.
Well, Scott reckons, so blame him if it goes wrong.
Are you going to pay for it if it goes wrong?
No. One of the viewers is going to win that.
Are they?
So when it's all beaten up, then you can blame Scott.
Scott?
Me. Anyway, to the moon.
What's the wrong, Kevy?
I'm scared. I'm not even in it and I'm scared. Right, here we go.
Oh!
You know what? For the weight of it, it's surprising how it's taking that abuse.
And it's cold as well today.
It's cold, yeah.
So normally, cold, breakages, but it seems to last.
Here we go.
Nice!
Do you reckon I could hit that jump and land in the next bowl?
So off this, over this one, gotta clear this, and down into that.
Trouble is, if it goes wrong,
It's gonna land on that, it's gonna go boom! Oh!
landing on a concaved surface is the worst thing for a chassis and really likely to bend it.
Slappage!
And probably what weakened it for what happens in a minute.
Nice! She's upside down though.
Chassis is still looking perfectly straight.
She's alive! Oh, we got a snappage. Oh, it's broken! I said it! Shock tower's gone.
Oh, yeah, isn't it?
Told ya!
Jesus!
You're not all man right now.
What's happened here? You got your tool on you? It
Yeah, wait there.
hurts as well, your hands are cold, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jesus, that's...
All right, mate. All right, that's an end of a nip there. Oh, dude, what are you doing?
Try and get it out.
Come on.
I can always give you a new MIP, don't worry about that.
My poor mip.
I'll give you a new MIP.
You've broken the whole thing, man.
So I was just snapped it cleaning off, look. Do you know what? You can get alloy ones, GPM make them, but I'm reluctant because that's an easy fix. And if that was aluminium and you crash on it... Anyway, let's have a quick play in the snow and then we'll fix it. Boom, here we are back on this location. We was here earlier with a raminator and yeah, a bit of snow. Here we go, paddle tyres back on. There we go, ready for action. You hungry?
No.
You hungry?
No.
Ready? All the way over there.
Send it. Oh, dude.
These tyres are taking the RPM, man. Get out.
Nice. Oh, we've got a wheel. Yeah, it snapped.
It broke. Are they plastic shafts?
Dead.
It's a bit crap, isn't it?
Oh, Kevy! Stop doing that! Oh!
Flat out.
That looks like so much fun.
Check out the tyres, they're just taking full RPM.
Oh yeah, send it and chuck it at it. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I've got this.
So we're going to go full speed. Bob's going to get the snowman and just lob it on there. Footage. Oh, pinion's off again. I think we should take it back to the shop before it's dead. So I've got a new shock tower here, a couple of little pins here that I've lost. I've just cleaned it all up. Everything still looks pretty perfect, apart from this damaged shock tower. You've already seen me wrench on this and put shock towers on, so quick away for you. There we go, shock tower, all back on, all back together again. Next up, the pinion kept coming loose. So, got some high strength Loctite here. That shouldn't come off again with that. So there we go, all back in action and looking almost as good as new again. And one of you guys is gonna win this car. It cost $4,000 to build and it is the best of everything. You saw the horsepower, you saw the durability. The winner can choose what tyre he wants. You can have these paddle tyres here, or you can have the stock tyres, although these, they're probably gonna disintegrate, or you can have these Proline Badland MX tyres here. These take the RPM really well. Everything is in near perfect condition. We got a couple of scuffs here and there, but that just adds a little bit to the Talbot authenticity. So I'm going to deface the body a little bit so that you can have a bit of channel history. So link down below in the description box if you want to win this $4,000 Mega Kraton 8S. Do you want to win one of my RC cars? Click here. Click here to subscribe and become part of the crew. It's free. Or click here to see one of my other videos.